Hello lads and welcome back to the channel. My name is theScottishKoala, and with everybody kind of growing used to update 1.73 now, we've got a French tech tree, we've got the beginning of Italian ground forces, we've got modern vehicles now, so we're going to have a talk about what next. Alright guys, god I say that too much in my videos. So this one's going to be a little bit different. We're going to just have a little bit of a chat and probably going to throw up some Voltor footage in the background. I will have a video out on the SO4050 Voltor fairly soon. But right now we're just going to have a little bit of a discussion about what we are likely to see in the next few updates of War Thunder, breaching into, early to mid next year. The first thing I'm going to say is that I think it is very likely that we will get French tanks, but I think the first port of call is going to be for Gaijin to flesh out the Italian tank tech tree, because we have a couple of tanks, premium bundle tanks to use at the moment, but of course they do not have a lineup to go with them. So what we've had so far is being able to take out that tank 3 times. Whether you have backups or not, you essentially get 3 backups for every mission you play. So I think Gaijin's first port of call is going to be fleshing out the Italian tech tree, tank tech tree, and adding in French tanks to the game. That's likely what we're going to see this year, if not early next year, and I think that's going to be the very next update. Now, when update 1.71's modern vehicles were first announced, McChickenbites went and made a video saying that if we are going to get tier 6 jets as well, they will most likely be ground strikers like the A7 Corsair for use in tank RB, as that's where most of the game is. Now, I think that's quite likely, but as I said, I think Gaijin's first port of call is going to be to flesh out the Italian and French tank tech tree, and that's going to be a pretty big update, so don't expect much at the same time. Apparently, now I don't know how reliable these sources are, this is just something I've heard, but apparently Naval Forces is going to get some bigger capital ships. That's right, if this is true, if my sources are correct, Gaijin is internally testing cruisers right now, which is a huge step forward and opens up a lot of doors for Naval Forces, and I do want to make a video on War Thunder's Naval Forces at some point in the near future. We could potentially see the introduction of guided bombs, such as the Fritz X, KS-1 or Azon missiles or guided bombs, which I did make a video about a little while ago, as well as potentially a significant bomber rework in the game, as Gaijin seems to be quite intent on not just adding new vehicles, but improving the existing game, with changes like the whole BR change that happened a while back, or the improvements to the netcode that we saw a few weeks ago. We also saw the rework to the Warbond shop system. I think that happened in the latest update, so if Gaijin is going to continue that trend, and I think they should, because while fighter pilots and bomber pilots don't always get along, if there's one thing they can agree on, it's that bombers need to be better integrated into AirRB. So I think that would be a good idea for Gaijin to think about doing in the next couple of updates, is reworking bomber aircraft so that they are much better integrated into the gameplay of AirRB. I did make a video, or a couple of videos on this a little while back. I will link them below, there'll be an annotation on screen, you should go check them out. Potentially the modern vehicles trend could continue with tanks like the Russian T-72, the T-80, potentially the German Leopard 2, the American M60A3, and possibly the Chieftain 800 or 900 for the British, or maybe, potentially, and do not quote me on this, but we may get the Challenger 1. Now, I don't have all the information to say whether that's even possible at all, if that tank is on par with tanks like the Leopard 2, T-80 and M60A3, or if that's another step above entirely. Of course, there are many more vehicles that could be added within those battle ratings, but I think if War Thunder wants to add a tier 7 or just late tier 6 ground forces, battle rating 10.0 or even higher tanks, that's what we'd be likely to see. Gaijin has also said that they are not completely ruling out helicopters at that tier as well. I'm sure you guys remember that they got tested in the April Fool's event this year. Well, April test, more like these days, or the last couple of years. I'm not sure how helicopters would work in the game. I personally would prefer to see tier 6 jets, ground strikers like the A7 that I mentioned earlier. One thing I think we will never see in the game is the M1 Abrams, as that tank is still pretty much unparalleled today and just would not work in the game. I don't think there's any chance of a Challenger 2 either. The Challenger 1 might even be too far. Like I said, I'm not so knowledgeable with that, so if you guys want to go and do your own research and let me know what you think in the comment section below, please go ahead. But I'm sure if it were to be introduced, the Challenger 1 would be the absolute limit. Now here's my big prediction though. I'm thinking that we're going to see early missile systems and potentially Tier 6 supersonic jets in next year's April Fool's event. The April Fool's events of the last 2 years have been open test platforms rather than real jokes like they used to be. So in the same way that we got the T-90 and Leopard 2A5 as well as helicopters this year, we potentially see the MiG-21, F-100 or F-4 Phantom in next year's April Fools, with the guided missile systems being teased and tested and later on next year potentially worked into the game. So there it is, that's basically my thoughts on the next few updates of War Thunder. Do let me know your own thoughts in the comment section below. Thank you guys so much for watching. We are almost at 100 subscribers now. I want to be at 150 by the end of the year, and I really think we can do it. So do hit that subscribe button, please leave a like if you enjoyed, and I will see you next video.
Again.